The pressure cooker is going to blow up in his face at some point. There's coming tomorrow, and I don't know when that tomorrow is, when he's going to be yesterday's man. And I think the reasons for that are already pretty clear, both in this conversation and certainly in Cliff and Fiona's book. He is an autocrat. He believes in the vertical of power. He does not preside over a system of terror of the kind that Stalin did. Plenty of intimidation. Obviously, to cross him is not a good career move. But meanwhile, two things are happening in Russia, and one thing is happening outside of Russia that is going to get him in the end, because I don't think he shows any capacity for adjusting to these facts. One is the economy, and Cliff has written about this for years. Russia does not have a modern economy, and no state can thrive in a globalized 21st century world without a modern economy. And he has not been able to institute that, in part because, of course, they have the resource curse. They can get themselves out of hock with the IMF by pumping stuff and digging stuff out of the ground and selling it abroad. But that sooner or later is going to catch up with him. And then, of course, there is the whole institutionalized corruption of the economy. But the other thing is, and this is also in the book, we haven't really touched on it here, you've talked about the middle class, which I think is absolutely key. An awful lot of Russians now have traveled in the West. They're plugged into the West. I've been dragged kicking and screaming into the age of Twitter myself, so I'm actually following any number of Russian tweets. And there is a lot of quite open, vigorous discourse going on there, including complaints about the guy on high who has lots and lots of authority, but doesn't accept the accountability that goes with that authority. That's the middle class part. And by the way, it didn't just end 12 months ago. There have been some protests even in recent weeks. But there's the nature of the Russian citizenry, the ethnic nature of the Russian citizenry. There is Russian, which is to say Slavic, nationalism now going up in that country, supported and promoted by Putin. I'm thinking here of the Nashi movement, which you guys write about. But that's Russian nationalism in an ethnically exclusive sense. It's people with names that end in OV, which is the part of the population that is shrinking. They've got negative birth rates. Male mortality is appalling because of the public health situation, while in other parts of the country, those people who call themselves with a different word in Russian, Rossianya, which means citizens of the Russian Federation, but not necessarily ethnic Russians, their birth rates are going up. And that is unsustainable over time. And as for the neighborhood, yeah, Putin's pulled back into, has had Russia pull back into itself, but it defines itself and its interests in a way that extends to what are now independent sovereign countries. The Latvian ambassador is here. He can speak to this. These include countries that are now members of the European Union and NATO. And yet Putin, like other Russian leaders, with the exception perhaps of Gorbachev and Yeltsin, has lived by the principle that Russia is not going to be completely secure until all of its neighbors are completely insecure. It's classic zero sum. And that too is going to make it very, very hard for them to become a modern state under this leader or this type of leadership.